support.
Welcome to Yeshiva Yeshiva sponsor Louis Nishma Sari Akasholom Lea Basitzchok. We're holding in Basra Daf and Zayin. We're starting in the two dots that I'm involving base towards the bottom. Omar Bishmol Bamed Dvorim Amurim Bizdei Alovon. What does that mean? What is it referring to? Bizdei Alovon is the Bishmol said when you have a regular grain field, so then you have 3 years. But if not, you go into the harvest. If I have a field of fruits, and in that field you have grapes and olives and dates, so 3 harvests, that's enough. For Rabbi Shmuel, we learned to Rabban. Meaning what? Rabbi Shmuel taught us that you don't have to really hold on to the different parts of the field can combine to be a chazakah. Rabbanan say no, it has to be 3 years. But within 3 years, you learn for Rabbi Shmuel there can be different parts of the field, as the Gemara explains. You have 30 trees, which means 10 per base sale. This, as the Rashba points out over here, we need it for the rest of the daf to remember this. That the size, Rabbanan need a shear, that the size for a field to be normal, to have the normal distance between trees, it's supposed to be 10 trees, ilonas, we took young trees, 10 young trees, nitirs to be exact, within a base sale. If you have more trees in a base sale, it's too crowded. If you have less trees, it's not really a field of trees. In order for the field to be filled with trees, it has to be 10 within a base sale. So if you have a field, which is an approximate 10 per base sale, and I have 30 trees, which means I have 3 fields, I have 3 base sales, so then, if I held on the 10 trees in 1 year, and then another 10 trees the next year, another 10 trees the next year, that's a chazakah because I'm holding on different times in the field. Explains the Gemara. Gemara goes on and says, as the same Rabbi Shmuel learns that I can hold on to the olives, and that'll be a chazakah also for the grapes, and then hold on for the grapes, and that's a chazakah for the olives, and it's for one field. So the chazakah to each other. Says the Gemara, but that's only the trees are not growing fruits. The growing fruits, chazakah means, because going back to Rabbi Shmuel's case, Rabbi Shmuel has olives, grapes, dates. When the grapes are growing, the dates are not there. So he's holding on whatever he has. Then the dates are growing, the olives are not there. Then the olives are growing, the other trees are not there. So he's always holding whatever is there. If you have 30 trees growing right now and he's holding on only to 10, that's a lack of chazakah. That means he's not really serious about the chazakah. That means he's holding only a portion of the field. So what does it mean that he held 10, then 10, and 10? Means that each 10 are growing only once a year. The Rashbam and the Tosfos point out which tree grows only once every 3 years. So they're saying, we're talking about a tree, the Rashbam says, what's the name of the tree? Going b'noi shuach. Shein per says the Gemara Gimel Shani. The fruits have to grow once every 3 years. So this tree grows in year number 1, this tree grows in year number 2, the third tree grows in year number 3. And then you can combine them together and hold on to each one when they grow. Then you have over here chazakah. But if when you're holding on to them, you're not holding on to it when it grows, then you're lacking the chazakah. So
though you work in 1 year in this tree and the other one, as long as you have to be working on everything.
On everything that's growing. Right. Another condition you need to have that the 10 trees are not in one place. Meaning the 10 trees out of the 30 are spread out throughout the field. You have 10 trees throughout the field in 1 year, number 1. Year number 2, you have other 10 trees throughout the entire field. They're spread out. If they're all in one place, your max go into that place. I know the other ones I can't. You can't, but each one's considered to be its own field. Each base sale stands on its own. So if I'm holding on to the trees of one base sale, I mean chazakah that base sale. I then I make chazakah the other 2 base sale. But then I need to do another.
Yeah, but does that mean even when it doesn't grow?
Yeah, even though it doesn't grow, because you have to hold in the field. If you didn't do it, you have to do something else. Do no other parts. But if you didn't do no other parts, you just hold on to the tree. The tree needs to be that you did something in each field.
So what's the
well, if you have 10 trees out of 30, spread out throughout the trees. So 2 conditions the Gemara says. So let's go back. Let's
3 trees in this base are 3 in
exactly.
This one, that's you have to.
That's you have 10 exactly. So the Gemara says like this: if you have 10, So let's just summarize it once again for you. You have 10 out of 30. 10 out of 30 trees every year, and the trees are across all three, and the other 20 are not growing, then it's a chazaka. Yeah.
They have to be all three base up. Like
yes.
Just do two of the base up. So it shows nothing.
If all two would be only chazaka in the two. So that's what the Gemara says over here.
Even if they're all fenced in, there's one.
Yeah, even though they're all fenced in, his base house stands on its own. The fence doesn't change from being in different fields. Says more now. What's the case? So says the Rashba, we're talking about here another, not the case of chazakas that we talked about till now. So the Rashba, if you look deep on Zeich Bilonos, Zeich Bakaka. Shnei lekuchos. Shalokhu sode ha'ilon me'odom echad b'yachad. They bought a field for one person. Ve'kol ha'karka yatzoich li'ilonos shinituim kedin zdeilon. And the karka, you need the karka for the trees. Ve'akim tu kusuk dishbaitzim. Lechad nachar karka ulechad nachar ilonos ve'chzik kol echad b'shaloi. Okay? So you have here two buyers, two purchasers. One bought the land and one bought the trees. And now the discussion is who owns the land, the karka. So Taiz asked on the Rashbam, why are you talking about selling and buying? Why are we not talking about chazak? Our sugya, cheskaz abatim, where we're holding until now, it's all about chazakas. Not about purchase. What's chazak? Chazak means someone holds onto the field for 3 years. That's a right that belongs to him. Not talking about someone who's purchasing a field. What are you coining when you're purchasing? So Taiz is asking this question on the Rashbam, why are you bringing it over here? And therefore he argues, and since we're talking about chazak, it goes to explain how it works with chazak. I'm not going into all the details. But the idea is each one owns something that shows that's his. So big machlokes we're showing what is exactly the sukkah.
But how many alanis? It doesn't make a difference.
Right, it doesn't matter.
It does, because when we talk, somebody sells alanis. You're talking about one guy sold him a lawn, Reuben alanis, and he sold
Then you have one seller,
yeah.
And he says like this: you take the trees of the field, you taking the field. Yeah, that's it.
Then we learn only if you buy several trees and includes the car.
Yeah, that's something else. But here we're talking. Now we'll get to that.
Right.
We're talking right now. They specifically said the karka goes to Reuben, the tree goes to Shimon. That's what he said clearly. So now the shaila. So what does it do? It says it more like this. So Ravzvid said he has only the trees, and the other one has only the land.
That's all he bought.
I've got a papa in Ken. If so, so if so, he doesn't have anything in the land. Learns the Rashba. What is the question of the Gemara? The Rashba says like this: it's clear that you can leave the tree over here. Well, he bought the tree. You can leave the tree until the tree dies. The whole discussion is, once the tree died, do I own the land where the tree grew on? And I have a right to plant another tree or not? So comes what Puppet says, doesn't make sense. I bought the tree only until it dies. Once it dies, I can't do anything afterwards. Said the Rashba, this question of Matkiv or Papo, Ravzvid doesn't agree with. Ravzvid holds this is not a question. Yes, that's the answer. That's Allah. Allah is you bought the tree while the trees are alive. And while the trees are not alive, now belong when it is dead, is dead. So Papa says, it doesn't make sense to me. But that's not at Kafton Ravzvid according to Rashba.
But that's not what they
That's what the Rashba knows this. And Mela says the Gemara according to that. So that's part of the question of Papa. Tell him to take out the trees once it dies. Yeah. But if you want to see it inside, look at the Rashba. The Rashba says, so Papa argues and says, no, if I have a tree, including the tree is to get the land. Now, what's the chatzikarka? The Rashba brings two explanations. Either pshat is not chatzikarka, dafka means whatever the land the tree needs, or it means, we talk about a very small field, that's what we mentioned before, that you need the land, the entire land belongs to the trees, so you split the karka half and half. It's like almost yachliku that we have our tafel. Now, the Taisus does bring up pshat over here. Taisus brings the pshat of the Rashba. He brings another pshat that maybe he's talking about taking out the tree right now. I mean, your Papa tells Razid, according to your understanding, that he doesn't own the land, so why can you leave the trees on my land? I own the land right now. Yeah. Your trees are nurturing for my land. Take away the trees from my land. One second. So, he says, yeah, but you sold me the trees. Very good. The trees are yours. Take it and put it somewhere else. I didn't give you the land. If you're telling the Papa is telling Razid, according to your Avon, Razid understood, no. I have the right for the trees to stay in the field while the trees are alive. Comes to us and says, explains to Papa. Papa says, one second, I don't understand that. If I don't have any right to the land, So then the trees are mine, but not the land. So the owner of the land can say, right now I own the land. The first guy let you leave the trees, not me. Elamai told me I do have the land. So I have something in the land. That's what Tosh learned the question. Rashbam learns, he said, no, only after it dies. It's not really a question of Zvid. It's your Papa saying, I disagree with how you understand. But according to the Tosh says he's a pircha to Zvid.
Yeah, but according to the Moicher sells two people one dot. He has to include the similar.
The shaila. So according to Tosh, the shaila is what is the definition of my ownership? I own what right now? Tree.
What are you selling? If it's a lunch,
Exactly. Same thing. What is it? Is it a tree or is it tree of the land? So he says it has to be a tree of the land. Yeah. That's what according to Tosh, that's what Papa was asking us. Very good. So now that was the machlekes. So again, would you sell a tree with there's tree? One buys the tree, one buys the land. The shaila is the owner of the tree. Does he have a right to the land or not? Machlekes is your Papa. Says more now the following. Pshito. That's the first case. We can use here the pshat of the Rashbam just to leave it easier, because Tosh is another step. But according to the Rashbam, the first case he sold it to two people. Now the Gemara is going to speak. What about not selling it to two people? Sold to one person. Mocher kaka v'shir ilonas tefona. The seller sold the land and he kept the trees. He's the owner of the trees. Does he have the land that he can plant the tree after the trees die? Says it more pshita yesh kaka. It's clear he has kaka. And this goes on to the sugi that we're going to see later. Rabbi Akiva holds that when a person sells something, he sells everything. What's of Kamina? What the words we talked about, right? One of Kamina. One case is he sells the land and he keeps for himself the bor, the pit. The shaila is, does he keep for himself also the way to get to the pit? Rav Akiva says no, he sold everything. Now he wants to get a way to get to his pit. He needs to buy it back. Part of the sale. But no, you can say no. I sell you only. I didn't sell you. I need my rights. So Hebrew Akiva the old Mocher buying off him. I'm the gay bar vidus to the matchish be'ar. That bar vidus are the trees that come next to our bar vidus. They don't ruin my bar vidus. I still my pit is not being ruined by your trees. So I didn't sell for myself the way to get to the bar. But my trees, that they're ruining the land, because when they nurture for the land, they're ruining the land. Shiri Sharo. I'm saying he probably kept himself the right to the land. If he didn't shire, then what? So he tells him, take away the tree. Pasha's over here, even though Tosh doesn't mention over here, that the Tosh here says, like the Rashbam, that he says once it dried out. Look at Losh Tosh over here. The first Tosh says, the Rashbam says that in the fourth line, it says, Le Malek Kishiyav Shailon. Says Tosh also, in other words, what is he saying? He's saying, once the tree dropped, if you're the owner of the land, did not leave for himself the tree, so then once the tree dies, he has to take it away. That doesn't make sense. That person sold the land without das. So obviously, he kept for himself the land forever. And even Rav Zvid, before said that when you sell to two different people, so he gave one the trees only, but when he's himself, if he sells, he left it for himself the land. It says the one now, what was the opposite case? He sold the trees and he kept the land. He sold the trees and he kept the land. Pluk to the Akiva Rabban. Now that will depend on Akiva Rabban. So then the buyer that got the trees cut the land as well, because and he sold it more than the words that he said. According to Rabban, the old he sold the trees. He sold only the trees. He did not sell the land. So that goes back to the machlekes over there to Wasila Kaban. When a person's selling, does he include in the sale more than what he said? Says the Gemara, and Gemara goes on to explain more. In the first case, so the first case is he sold the land and he kept the trees for himself.
Right.
Then clearly he's keeping for himself more because he needs to be able to have the land. But if he sold the trees and kept the land, he sold only the trees and did not sell the land.
As far as you can only say when it's a moicher lekech.
For sure.
Moicher sells the two lekoich.
No, that's a different case. Again,
no, it's a different case.
No, there's no two lekech. Yeah, that's why
the case you can't say Ayin Yofa.
exactly, that's what the Gemara says. The Amudal, the Gemara says there's no Ayin Yofa. It's only when you have a seller and a buyer.
Otherwise,
Says-
Ayin Yofa the design route.
Exactly, that's what the Gemara is explaining right now. Zok the Gemara, there be Kiva Islam. Kiva holds Moicher, Ayin Yofa Moicher, and that means the buyer got the trees with the land. Even though in Amud Aleph, Zvid said that when you have two buyers, so he doesn't get it. When he says there are two buyers, you say, listen, I didn't get any part in your trees. You didn't get part in my land. He sold it to us. You took trees. I took land. You have only trees. I have only land. But a seller, we have a klal, which means I give you the trees with the land. The buyer does not have the land. Even if the holds in a mudalef. Then when he sells to two people, the one who owns the trees adds land. We have two buyers. That was the first rule he said. He says, why you're saying you had when you have two people, you say, okay, even if you want to say, Rabban hold, you don't say Moicher Ba'yofa Moicher. Say, but here, the Moicher is not involved anymore. He sold the whole thing. He says, whatever he sold you the land. He sold me the trees. So if you got a land and it's a very nice land, I got the trees with the land. Why should I assume that you took the land of the trees more than me?
It's a different idea, but
Right.
It's only the cargo gets forever.
Right.
Ilanis, you're giving him something more than what you said.
It's a loshon mushal l'gabe ayin yofa. You're right. It's not really ayin yofa because really it's not really. It means to say like, why should I assume that he gave you the land and the trees more than me? There's no reason to say that. But by a seller, yes. When you have only a seller and a buyer, the seller gives out the minimum. But when the seller gives it to two people, who say give it to you more than me? You're right. The loshon moicher ba'yofa moicher is not dafka over here.
You said earlier, it's like leads into like when you sell something, are you selling more than what you actually said?
Right.
So when you say you're selling the trees, you're really selling more because if it's buying yafa because you're getting the karka too.
Right.
But the karka, what's the ayin yafa? He bought karka, he gets karka. You're not getting anything.
Right. But shaila is he's getting the karka with the right to kick away the owner of the trees. So I sold you karka, I got a karka, but now I have also a right to kick you away. So I didn't know that. No, that's up what. Yeah. Says the Gemara, okay, so that's what the Gemara says, that really that's Amudalav and base come together. It's really one sugya. In Amudalav we said Machlikas you have two buyers. Now we're saying what happens if you have only one buyer, that will be the other flip side of the case. If you have more than 10 trees of base sale, you have 20 trees in the area of base sale. It's too many trees. You're going to have to cut it off. So then the din is no chazak over here. What do you do with Mishu das Pasto? What is Mishu das Pasto? Pasto is a shachas. And the shachas grows a lot, and they cut off parts of it. So the Rashbam brings two pshatim. How do you understand this? The Rashbam brings, let's see, sorry, we can see a few lines, not the whole thing. In the beginning, it says that Mishu das Pasto, Aruga das Pasto, Vaikodilera is Ruah Ritzufa. The whole thing is a Ruah. I feel like I'm going to be we learn there's a chazaka by shachas. So says the Rashbam, how to say it? It's not a great question. It's normal to have, you don't put a lot of trees together, but you do put shachas together. So that's why this is not a real question, but just like your So he says, V'yesh tefarish, and then he goes like this, he brings another shot. He says, V'yesh tefarish, Aklu Ritzufim Ein Chazoko, Shesevim Sharish Oisom Lefazen Et Yosom. Why would I have too many trees? It's not a good chazaka. Because I'm going to cut out some trees. So he says, you grow a lot, you can have some. He can love chazaka, or you will shirish, kaimi, enzei kagdulim. And the Rashbam adds, we just mentioned, we have small trees, it's 10 lebei sale. When you have big trees, how much is a base sale? 3. So you see how quickly you're going to cut off trees. So the Rashbam says, the carbon here is ashkon yu lebei sale. When it's small trees, it's 10 for base sale. How do you go from 10 to 3? They originally were small trees 10. That's how you do it. You grow a lot of pasto. You put sharas all over. Then you cut it off. So in other words, when I have a lot growing, and I'm going to cut off some of it, you want to see it's not a chazaka. Why not? That's how it's supposed to work. You grow a lot, and you cut off some of it. So why is it not a chazaka? So that's what it says. Ela ma'ata mishu das pasto emay korilo. Ela marovo malchur etzufim ein lo karka. Not that he doesn't have a chazaka in the trees. He just doesn't have a karka. He can't claim the land. Right? As Rashbam explained, malchur etzufim ein lo karka kegun shituim yoisem b'beiseo de'achol amina koyin shleish shilonos kol karko de'etzes de'ilon la'kol shosh karka. So usually when I buy 3 trees, I get the land. But here you're going to cut it off. So I have the trees, I don't have the land. That's what he says. You have the trees. This idea that you don't have any trees, any land, is not, it's a machlokes tanoi. Why is it machlokes tanoi? It says the following. I have a vineyard, and this will learn, as the Rashbam points out, we'll see it later. And anybody will learn Mesachas Kilayim, and Yeshiva, we saw it too. When I have a vineyard that it's less than Arba Amos, meaning what does it mean Arba Amos? Less than a distance between tree to tree of Arba Amos. The din is of Shimon Oimei. That's not a vineyard. It's not a vineyard at all. And therefore I don't have a problem. Kilayim, all the halachas have to do with the vineyard don't apply over here. You treat them like single trees. The Chachoy Oimei, I raise a Karen, but Soim Kilo. So no, it is a vineyard. Oh, one second, it's too many trees. You'll cut off the middle trees. So Shaila is, when I have too many trees, do I look at it, there's nothing here? You're not here. It's single ones, but if they're not really a trees, or it means I do have the right amount. The fact that I have extra, I will cut the middle ones and I'll have the side ones. Mine have kamina. So that's the machlekes over there as regarding kilayim. Do we have ilchus kilayim that belong to a vineyard when I have too many trees? So Rabbi Shimon says it's not a vineyard. It's not a vineyard. It's single vine. It's not a vineyard.
Until you take it out.
Until you take it out. Upon it all, even before you took it out, you have a vineyard over here. Just as trees in the middle, you cut it off. Here we're saying like this: you have too many trees in the field. You have too many trees in the field. Now the shaila is: do you have a chazak or not? So you over say, I don't have a chazak on the karka holding the trees because the trees can be cut off. He says that's very good according to Reb Shimon. According to Rabbanon, I do have chazak on the karka. Hi, there's too many trees over here. You cut off some of the trees, but some of the trees will be okay. So I have a chazak on the karka, so we totally in there.
Do you have to cut off? It says running some kilayim.
Yeah, you have to cut off. I don't think it's kilayim. You have to cut off just because that's the normal way of growing trees on land. You're not going to be able to let the trees stay that way. Very good. Vesel Gomer, we'll stop over here. And he's going to continue from here tomorrow night.